Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's as fascinating as it is controversial: banned books. Yep, we're talking about books that, for one reason or another, have been banned or challenged throughout the years. It's wild to think that some of the most iconic pieces of literature were once considered too dangerous for people to read. Books are banned for all kinds of reasons, whether it's their language, themes, or sometimes just the ideas they present. And what's even more interesting is that these books come from all sorts of genres, from fantasy to nonfiction. So today we're going to take a look at some of the most notable banned books across different genres. Let's start with a book that might surprise you: Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. Yes, this beloved series has been banned in schools around the world. The reason? Accusations of promoting witchcraft and the occult. Some religious groups feared that these magical themes would negatively influence children. Despite these bans, Harry Potter has become a global phenomenon, inspiring movies, theme parks, and millions of readers. But it's fascinating to think that such a beloved series was once considered too controversial. Next up, we have Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This classic is a dystopian novel about the banning of books, where firemen actually burn books to prevent the spread of knowledge. Ironically, Fahrenheit 451 itself has been banned for its language and themes that conflict with certain religious values. It's a perfect example of a book that criticizes censorship, only to be censored itself. Moving into more dystopian territory, let's talk about 1984 by George Orwell. This book presents a terrifying vision of a future where the government controls everything, including your thoughts. It's been banned in several countries, especially during the Cold War, for its political themes. In the US, it's also faced challenges for its sexual content. Despite the bans, 1984 remains a powerful and relevant book, with terms like Big Brother becoming part of our everyday language. Now let's switch gears to a classic in American literature, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. This book has been controversial since the day it was published. It's one of the most frequently banned books in U.S. schools, primarily for its use of racial slurs and its portrayal of slavery. While some argue it's an important critique of racism, others find the language too offensive. Either way, Huckleberry Finn remains a central part of American literature, and debates about its place in schools continue to this day. Next up is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. This book has been called everything from a masterpiece to a corrupting influence on teenagers. It's been banned in schools for its explicit language, sexual content, and portrayal of teenage rebellion. The main character, Holden Caulfield, is often seen as the voice of teenage angst. He's cynical, swears a lot, and doesn't trust authority. For many young readers, Holden is incredibly relatable, but for some parents and teachers, this was seen as dangerous. Let's dive into something a little more visual: Mouse by Art Spiegelman. This graphic novel tells the story of the Holocaust using mice to represent Jews and cats to represent Nazis. Despite its powerful message and historical significance, Mouse was banned in Tennessee for its depictions of violence and nudity. This ban sparked a lot of outrage, as Mouse is often used to teach students about the Holocaust in an accessible yet impactful way. Now, let's talk about Forever by Judy Blume. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you probably remember this book. It's a coming-of-age story about a teenage girl's first relationship, and it tackles topics like love and sex head-on. Because of its frank discussion of teenage sexuality, Forever has been banned in schools. But for many readers, it was the first book that really spoke to their experiences with young love. In the world of nonfiction, we have I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. This autobiography covers heavy themes like racism, sexual abuse, and trauma. Because of its explicit content, it's been banned in schools. But Angelou's story is one of resilience and survival, making it a powerful and important read. Next, let's talk about Howl by Allen Ginsberg. This poem, a defining piece of the Beat Generation, was banned for its sexual content and drug references. It even led to a major court case over whether it was obscene. Spoiler alert, the courts ruled in favor of Howl, making it a landmark case for free speech. It's raw, rebellious, and still considered a bold statement in literature. Finally, we have The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. This young adult novel follows a Native American teenager as he navigates life on and off the reservation. It's been banned for its language, its depiction of alcoholism, and its sexual content. But for many readers, it's a deeply honest portrayal of what it's like to grow up in two worlds that sometimes feel like they're constantly colliding. Now let's shift gears and look at some books that were banned for what many might consider good reasons. These are books that contain extreme or dangerous content, and their bans were often due to concerns over public safety or morality. First up is The Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie. This book was banned in countries like India, Pakistan, and Iran for being considered blasphemous by many in the Muslim community. The controversy was so intense that a fatwa, or death sentence, was issued against Rushdie. Religious sensitivity made this book a prime target for censorship. Next, we have Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. This one's pretty straightforward. Mein Kampf is banned in several countries, including Germany and Austria, because it promotes Nazi ideology, racism, and anti-Semitism. Given the historical atrocities associated with Hitler, it's understandable why this book would be restricted. Then there's The Anarchist Cookbook by William Powell. This book isn't your typical banned book. It's a literal manual on how to create explosives and commit other illegal activities. It's been banned in several countries for promoting dangerous behavior. Even the author later regretted writing it, but by then, it had already sparked a lot of controversy. Let's talk about American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. This novel is infamous for its graphic violence and sexual content, which led to its ban in countries like Canada and strict restrictions in Australia. The book's portrayal of a psychopathic banker committing brutal crimes was seen as too extreme for some readers, leading to its censorship. Next is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This dystopian novel has been banned in Ireland and Australia for its depictions of sex, drug use, and its critical view of traditional morality. Huxley's sharp critique of society made the book controversial, but today it's seen as a classic in dystopian literature. Finally, let's look at Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. This book was banned for decades in countries like the UK and the US because of its explicit sexual content. It sparked major debates about censorship and morality, and even led to a famous court case that eventually lifted its ban. So there, you have it. A look at some of the most iconic banned books across genres and the reasons behind their bans. From pushing boundaries to outright dangerous content, these books have sparked major controversies over the years. What do you think? Should these books stay banned, or do they deserve a place on our shelves? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future discussions. Until next time, keep reading. Just maybe check what's on the banned list first.